Hi, Victor Morganti here from FactEngine. I'm going to give a demonstration of a new architecture for the Boston conception modeling software that FactEngine's enterprise customers will be happy with. Boston's moving in June 23 to an architecture where Boston can store models and retrieve models from a variety of relational databases and any relational database configured for Boston. So Boston ships at the moment with a Microsoft Jet database. In June 23 that'll be Microsoft Jet and SQLite, and then from August 23 Postgres, and shortly after Oracle and SQL Server. And then if you need any other database to store your models, please get in touch, and it only takes a couple of days to configure a new database for Boston to operate over. So we've got Boston open in front of us, and it's running on my desktop rather than through a browser, and it's operating over a Microsoft Jet database. There's a whole suite of models open in the Model Explorer, and if I go to Boston configuration, we can see that we're running on a Microsoft Jet database, and there's the connection string. So I'm going to change that to SQLite and select a SQLite version of the Boston database. When I hit OK, it says changing the database type requires an application restart. Are you happy with that? I'm going to say yes, and Boston's going to restart. And when it reopens, it'll be reopening against a different database of a different database type. There'll be a different set of models within the Model Explorer because we're looking at a different database. And now we're open on top of a SQLite database and with these models here. Let's open one of those models. So that's loading from SQLite. Now you can imagine if you have Boston Enterprise and your clients or employees are using Boston through a web browser, either over an intranet or the internet, you can elect to have an enterprise scale database to store your models. So whether that's Postgres, Oracle, or SQL Server, etc. Now that's finished loading. Let's load a page from the model. So there's a entity relationship diagram from the model. We can just quickly open a object role model and a property graph schema. And so they've all been loaded from, in this instance, SQLite. Now if I go to Boston configuration, I can see that the new configuration is over a SQLite database, and that's the connection string. I'm just going to turn off threading for loading while I demonstrate another model storage option in Boston. For large models, we recommend that they're stored as XML documents external from the database. The model details are stored in the database, but the actual model itself is stored externally to the database. I've got an example of that. We've got the ECSS aerospace telemetry model in this instance of the SQLite database. It's details, but the model itself, I'm not sure if your browser, if your screen resolution will let you see this, but there's a little XML against the model here indicating that it's stored as XML external to the database. So I'm going to load that, and it's a very large model. So it's got over 2,000 model elements, and takes a little while to load. So it'll take around 50 seconds. Now you would store it as XML because saving documents, saving models as XML is extremely fast, and loading them from XML is a lot quicker than loading them from the database. So just to recap where we are, Boston's moving to an architecture where you can elect the type of database, relational database that Boston operates over. Boston ships as standard with Microsoft Jet. In June 23, Boston will ship with Jet and SQLite, and then from circa August 23 we'll be moving to Postgres, and then shortly after that Oracle and SQL Server. So I'll just give this model another couple of seconds to load up. It's the sheer size of this model that takes its time to load. Okay, so that's loaded up. Let's just open an object role model within that model. And that's loaded up. So you can imagine where, if you're using Boston Enterprise through a web browser, a model as large as the ECSS telemetry model can be served through a browser, stored as XML, or you have a choice of database to store models directly within the database on a server pretty much anywhere in the world. So thank you for watching. That's the new architecture coming to Boston in June 23. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon in the next video.